welcome and congratulations on being part of the National Invitational. I know that you and your teachers have been working very hard to get here, so we are looking forward to your presentations. We'll start with judges' introductions. I'm Ellen Iwamoto. I'm the Director of Civics Programs at the Annenberg Public Policy Center at the University of Pennsylvania, and I'm in Philadelphia.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jeff Owen. I'm a retired Chief Operating Officer of the American Bankers Association and lived and worked in Washington, D.C. for the last 40 years.
I'm JC Polanco. I'm an attorney here in New York City, and I live in the Bronx, and I teach at CUNY, Borough Manhattan Community College. I'm really excited to be here with you today.
Great. Students, if you could introduce yourselves as well as your teachers.
Hi, I'm Daniel O'Connor from Gahanna Middle School South.
Hi, I'm Anna Dermatowski from Gahanna Middle School South.
Hi, I'm Maddie White from Gahanna Middle School South.
Would you like to introduce your teachers?
And our teacher is Mr. Browning.
Wonderful. So I'm going to remember now to read the question, and then we'll have your presentation. So Unit 6, what are the responsibilities of citizens? According to the American Immigration Council, immigration law in the United States has been built upon the following principles: the reunification of families, admitting immigrants with skills that are valuable to the U.S. economy, protecting refugees, and promoting diversity. Does today's immigration policy reflect these principles? Why or why not? And what are the major cultural and political issues regarding immigration that face America today? What changes, if any, should be made to our current immigration policy? Should the United States admit more refugees in view of the worldwide crisis of displaced persons? And why or why not? And the floor is yours.
Immigration in the U.S. is a very controversial topic, as there's a large controversy on whether or not we should let mass amounts of refugees in the U.S. in the view of the worldwide crisis of displaced persons. With every president, a new immigration policy is formed, and legal immigrants in the U.S. face many issues, political and cultural. In the U.S., there's many issues about immigration that begin in the U.S.
There are major cultural and political issues around immigration that affect America today. Cultural differences can make it very hard for immigrants to adapt to life here. A political and cultural issue is employment. Employment is a huge issue with immigrants, and without a job, immigrants have trouble providing for their families, finding housing, and getting transportation, which can all lead to extreme poverty. 17.3% of immigrants today live in poverty. Immigrants can be forced to work long hours without even getting the minimum wage. This can happen to both legal and illegal immigrants. In many cases, they have not received adequate training for their job, which leads to immigrants losing their entry-level position, which would make it harder for them to work. Another big political issue with immigration is immigration policies. Many different immigration policies and these dramatic changes from one president to another can be extremely disruptive to the lives of many immigrants. Congress has also failed to address immigration challenges such as border security and undocumented immigration. According to the Hispanics in Washington, there are 10.3 million illegal immigrants in the United States today. One option to decrease illegal immigrants is to increase border security and make illegal immigrants legal. These immigrants would still have to follow the procedures of the current naturalization process, but they would be given more time to complete the citizenship requirements without being deported. This would become beneficial to the children of illegal immigrants because they could stay being legal citizens and their parents could be too.
During President Trump's term, he stopped many illegal immigrants from coming into the United States, as well as deported many undocumented immigrants who were already in the U.S. But in the process, families have been separated and some documented immigrants have also been deported. Steps can be taken to improve this and stop documented immigrants from being deported. And the first step by President Biden. On his first day as president, he announced the Us Citizenship Act of 2021. In this Act, he's allowing undocumented legal immigrants to become fully fledged citizens after a detailed background check. He also is allowing people who were deported during President Trump's term to come back and get a green card if they pass the same background check. These are steps that shift the United States toward allowing increased immigration with security screenings, while also reducing illegal and undocumented immigration, which is an appropriate direction to keep pushing forward. Other measures that are needed include a bill put in place to stop us from separating families for no reason. An example we shouldn't do in 1882 with the Chinese Exclusion Act, where for a period of 60 years we stopped any Chinese laborers from entering America. The downside was doing this was that it raised tension with China and for a short period of time caused a boycott. All in all, if we allow people a path to get into America and to become citizens, and stop illegal immigrants from entering this country, will improve the American economy and strengthen us.
The last 10 years, the U.S. was able to resettle almost 300,000 refugees, which allowed people to live better lives. This is important because not only did it save lives, it allows the people the chance to live the American dream. Refugee resettlement allows the U.S. to lead by example so that other nations will also take in refugees. Across the world, people are fleeing war-torn countries with no other goal in mind than to find safety. Some are leaving religious persecution, political oppression, and terror. Studies show that in 2018, 22,000 refugees were admitted into the U.S. Just 2 years earlier, in 2016, almost 84,000 refugees were admitted. These numbers were in a time with a different immigration policy than we are currently upholding. President Joe Biden plans to make the process of becoming a citizen easier and safer, but also give families the ability to stay together without the worry of getting separated. The reality these people are trying to leave is so drastically different than life in the U.S., so why not try and provide safer lives?
Great. Thank you. Thank you very much. So we're going to start with some follow-up questions. I'll lead off with one about, so going in a little bit different direction, you were speaking about federal policies, President Biden's policies, but what do you think about state governments? Should they be able to regulate immigration?
I do not think that states should be able to regulate immigration because immigrants are immigrating to the U.S. as a whole, and with immigrants coming from coming in from different parts of the U.S., it would be different in every state, and it would not be immigrating to the U.S., it'd be immigrating to states as a whole.
To add on to what my teammate was saying, it doesn't make sense for states to handle their own immigration because building off of what she was saying, you're immigrating to the entire country, not just to a state. And since states have different laws, you might agree to one state's laws, then move to another state and disagree with their laws.
Okay.
So, sorry.
No, thank you.
So I have a question about the wall. You mentioned border security, one of you, and should the U.S. build a wall along our border with Mexico to help stop the inflow of illegal immigration? Why or why not?
I do not believe so because while we should increase border security, I think that the wall is very dividing and unwelcoming to immigrants, where illegal immigrants shouldn't be able to come in. They should have to follow the processes to become legal immigrants, but I don't think that there should be a wall built.
To add on to what Anna said, I think that having a physical wall makes it more restricting when there could just be laws that are clear to everyone to follow and process.
Building on to what my teammates were saying, I also think a wall would be, while it would improve border security, it would be a bit too pricey. And if there was a better option that wouldn't take as much of the budget up, I think that would also help.
Thank you.
Hey, what do you think about children that are brought here illegally? They find out they're undocumented, some later on. The question is, what do we do with them? Do we keep them here? Do we deport them? Should we fix DACA as you know it? Should we get rid of it? What do you think?
I think we should try to help them as much as possible, put them through the standard immigration process, but allow them the opportunity to become citizens before we just straight up deport them.
I agree with what my teammate says. I think that these children should be given time to complete the citizen requirements without being deported, because they shouldn't have to be deported. All in all, they should be given the time to follow the procedures of the current naturalization process.
Thank you. Thank you.
Another question. Do you think we should encourage new immigrants to become U.S. citizens? Why or why not?
I think we should encourage them to become U.S. citizens, because if they're immigrating to the U.S., they're likely coming with the goal in mind to become U.S. citizens. So I think we should be able to help encourage that.
Building onto what my teammate was saying, I agree that we should encourage it because everyone who's coming into the U.S. and everything has a opinion, and if they become citizens, we can hear their opinions like through voting and everything, and we can get a more open spread of voters than just one small group.
Okay. Talk to me about government's role. Does government have a role, either state or federal or both, to helping immigrants find and get access to employment opportunities, housing, healthcare, et cetera?
I think the federal government definitely plays a role, they play a role in helping immigrants get jobs and all that. But I think that more needs to be done for these immigrants who are coming in with no idea what it's like to have a job in the U.S., because they could go through something where they don't have the experience for their job and they have no idea how they should be getting treated in their job. So they could be forced to work long hours or getting not as much as they should. And this is harmful to immigrants and their families.
I
Adding
agree
on to
with
what my teammate,
you. Go.
okay, adding on to what my teammate said, I think that it should be I think it should be enforced by federal governments, not enforced, but the national government could give outlines to how they should be getting jobs, and so it's the federal government's job, but the national government can help them direct that.
Going back to one of the first questions that we had, it was the question of should it be state government or the federal government? And I think it's more of a federal government role because, again, you aren't immigrating to the states, you're immigrating to the U.S. as a whole.
Building on to both of my teammates, I think at least until immigrants come in and get a footing, they should be helped at least with some sort of homeless shelter and temporary health care and help finding jobs when needed.
Good, thank you.
Kelly, it appears that we've run out of time, right? A few seconds left. Thank you.
15, yep.
Yep, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation. I appreciate everybody chiming in for their follow-up questions, and clearly you came well prepared. So congratulations to you and your teacher for all the work that you put in. And good luck.
Yes, thank you for the presentation and the discussion. It was obvious to me in your comments, you've thought a lot about impacts on immigrants,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and their livelihood and what happens next. And I think that was compelling. thank you for working together as you did, and we wish you luck on the next phase of this. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for your presentation. I think it was very good. And I liked the way that all of you participated and were able to bring current affairs into the discussion. So thank you.